Last Sunday's reading of the Samaritan woman, today's reading with the blind man, and next Sunday, raising Lazarus from the dead, are three of the most important Gospels that we listen to during the season of Lent, and especially for those in the RCIA experience. Because the church over the years has made sure, even if the cycle of other years, we read other readings, when we have the RCIA, these readings are read. And part of the confusion you might have had. Why this reading rather than the other reading, last Sunday, this Sunday, and next Sunday? But they're so important because the early church saw these as so much of an experience of understanding the message of Jesus. And especially today, the blind man. In the early church, baptism had another name. It was called illumination. You were illumined by Christ. You were enlightened by Christ. You knew the light of Christ as the light of the world. And here, that theme very much echoes with the blind man, able to see. A second illumination, a second sight, you might say. Yes, we heard in the long account here how this man was born without the gift of sight. And right away, Jesus says this man is blind so that the works of God might be seen and made visible through him. It's not that God wanted him blind, but as he was blind, he was going to reveal God through him. And Jesus heals him. He takes his saliva, makes a clay, puts it on the man's eyes, and this man is able to see. He goes down to the pool of Siloam, and there washes with that water. Siloam means sent. It's very important today's gospel because anyone who is baptized is sent by Christ into the world, into their lives, not just staying and say, I'm baptized, that's all I got to do. For us as adults, sometimes you hear people talk that way. I'm baptized, that's all I have to do. I do my duty. But Jesus always invites more. He wants us to have second sight. Today, this blind man's questioned by the Pharisees, the religious leaders. And isn't it interesting in the transition that happens, how first he's questioned, then he's questioned again, and then he starts preaching to them. He starts questioning them. That's what faith does. That's what an experience of God does. Now you engage with others. You interact with others. You ask them questions. You witness. And this is something the blind man's teaching all of us. Whether it is for our 2 to be baptized, the 4 to be received in the church, all of us. When we have an encounter with Christ, we are sent. We give testimony. We don't sit back anymore. Our faith becomes more important. It's something we talk about, we share with, we encounter, we invite others to recognize that as well. And what are the words of the blind man today at the end of all of this? I do believe, Lord. That is what RCIA is all about. For those who are looking to be baptized, those to be received into the church, we want to be able to say this and believe this with the first sight and the second sight. I do believe. The first sight with our eyes. The second sight with our hearts. And a conviction in our hearts. A passion in our hearts. An awareness that this is something that, because I am a Christian, I do believe, Lord, it changes my life. And that's what we're seeing with yourselves in RCIA. Your life is changing. You're changing. It's not necessarily how you wear your clothes. It's not necessarily where you work. It's how you live your life in conviction. I do believe, Lord. And so this morning, as we have this ceremony, this is the second of the scrutiny ceremonies, I invite all of us to be aware as we listen to these words, how they're not just for 2 people being baptized, but they're for all the baptized. Here in this church, where this Mass is being live streamed, we all are being invited to respond with that active faith. I do believe, Lord. In these last weeks, the second half of Lent, so important for the RCIA, they want and desire our prayer. And it should be the pledge of our parish community that we would do this, because in so many ways we walk together. Others join, but we come together as the body of Christ.